On June 23, 1757, 50,000 soldiers representing the richest state in India took the field to face a corporate security force of just 3,000 men. The Bengal army brought the full weight of 18th century warfare to the field: heavy artillery, thousands of cavalry, and a line of armored war elephants. Despite having nearly 17 soldiers for every one Englishman, the Bengal lines collapsed in just a few hours. This outcome was determined months in advance. The East India Company executed a hostile corporate takeover, settling the accounts in private meetings long before the first cannon was fired. At the time, Bengal generated 12% of the world's GDP. It was a global hub for silk and muslin, making it the primary target for any European power looking to control international trade. The East India Company began overstepping its trade permits, constructing military forts in Calcutta without local permission, and stockpiling heavy weaponry. When the 23-year-old Siraj-ud-Daulah inherited the throne, he responded by launching an aggressive raid on the British fort in Calcutta, seeking to reassert his authority through sheer force. Following the fort's fall, the company publicized reports of the Black Hole of Calcutta, a story of British prisoners suffocating in a cramped cell, to stoke outrage and justify a full-scale military response. Siraj's volatile reaction didn't just provoke the British, it terrified his own court. By threatening the interests of the local elite, he created a political void that the company was ready to exploit. To dismantle the Nawab, the company needed to unite his internal enemies. First were the Jagat Seths, a banking family with enough capital to influence entire empires. Siraj had publicly insulted the Seths and demanded 3 crore rupees from their treasury. For the bankers, the young Nawab had become a direct threat to their balance sheets. Then there was Gaddari Begum, the Nawab's aunt. Siraj had seized her wealth and disarmed her household troops, turning a powerful family member into a silent partner for the British. Finally, the company turned to Mir Jafar, the senior military commander of the Bengal army. He felt entitled to the throne, and the British offered him a path to it. Company Commander Robert Clive realized that while he couldn't outfight 50,000 men, he could buy the people who led them. Clive brokered a secret treaty. In exchange for standing down during the battle, Mir Jafar would be installed as a puppet ruler, and the East India Company would receive tax-free trade across the entire province. On the morning of the battle, a sudden monsoon downpour hit the field. The Bengal army's gunpowder was left out in the open, turning their primary defense into useless sludge. The British had come prepared with tarps to keep their ammunition dry. When the rain stopped, their cannons were the only ones that could still fire. Company artillery soon killed Mir Madan, the only general still fighting for the Nawab. Siraj, seeing his most loyal commander fall, panicked and turned to his other generals for help. Siraj ordered a general advance, but the vast majority of his army didn't move. They stood as spectators while the British began their march. Siraj shouted orders into a silence that had been bought and paid for months earlier. He was the only one on the field who didn't know the battle was already over. Within days, Siraj-ud-Daulah was captured and killed. Mir Jafar was crowned Nawab, but the meeting that followed made the new hierarchy clear. The company was now the landlord, and the Nawab was merely the tenant. Mir Jafar quickly discovered that he had traded his loyalty for a title without power. The company now controlled the treasury, the army, and the law. 200 boats were immediately loaded with looted gold and silver from the Murshidabad treasury and sent down the Ganges. This siphoning of capital was so thorough that it left the wealthiest province in India financially crippled within a decade. Economic historians link this specific injection of stolen wealth directly to the financing of the Industrial Revolution in Britain, providing the liquidity needed for rapid technological expansion. By placing a puppet in the palace and controlling the accounts from the shadows, the East India Company had found a way to conquer an empire without having to govern it. It was a strategy they would repeat across the subcontinent for the next century.